All right, everyone. Like Coach Corey said, my name's Coach Malcolm. Excited to be able to be here on the island with you guys and just to give back to the game that gave me so much. I'm excited to talk about this. It's called The Path Less Traveled, and this is just kind of telling my life story, you know, trying to be a black hockey player, because to address the elephant in the room, I look a lot different than you guys. And that's something you don't see on this island very often. But being a black hockey player in the South, that was something that you rarely see. So I just want to be able to share my experiences and kind of show you guys some of the stuff that I went through. I moved down to Atlanta, Georgia when I was about 6 or 7, and that's where I started to develop a passion for hockey. We would play on a team that was made up of the so-called best kids from Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. We went to a whole bunch of tournaments up north. We knew if you wanted to play good hockey, you had to go north. So in the 8th grade, I left. I went back to Detroit, Michigan. I played for Bell Tire my 8th grade year. So I was in, I think, 3 schools that year, and between my household and the 2 billet households, 3 different households. So it was definitely a lot of moving parts there. So I chose the prep school route. So I went to New Hampshire for 3 years. We didn't have the strongest team, but that didn't really bother me. I just wanted to go someplace where I could play. You know, one thing I would love to give, one piece of advice I would love to give you all is don't be so focused about going to a big name. Go to where you can play and where you can develop not only as a player but as a person, because that'll take you a long way. I ultimately ended up choosing Maine as the school I wanted to go to try to pursue my education and also try to get a shot at playing in the NHL. I kind of realized, you know, this isn't going to be one of those things where I can just show up and my talent alone is going to be able to get me to the next level. I kind of started to develop, you know, that self-doubt in my mind. You know, going to campus as a 19-year-old, the coach switched my position from D to forward. Never played forward a day in my life except for, I think, back in squirts. So that was definitely new for me. I was struggling there, but at the same time, I wasn't taking the accountability of myself to try to learn the position. I wasn't doing the things away from the rink that I needed to do in order to be successful. So another thing that you can take from this as well is the accountability piece. Like, I would have loved to have, you know, been on the ice extra, shooting 100 pucks, tipping 100 pucks, making sure my cardio is up to date. So when I do get that nod that I'm in the lineup, I can perform. But I wasn't doing that, and that makes things a lot harder for you. My sophomore year, I was sidelined with a shoulder injury, so I had labrum surgery on my right shoulder, and I ultimately ended up missing that whole year. And then junior year was a bit of a struggle. I just started, you know, like I said, I started developing that self-doubt, and then that's when the depression and anxiety started to kick in my junior year. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. You know, I wasn't sure in the classroom, and then I wasn't sure on the ice. So it's like you start to develop those thoughts in your head that tell you, you know, you might think one thing, and then the thoughts in your head are telling you a different thing. So that was kind of tough for me, you know, trying to get out of that shell. But I also put that on myself because I never really took it upon myself to go get the help. I just kind of thought it'll pass through and I'll get back to balling, but that's not the way it always plays out, especially if you don't take the time to go get help. So that kind of takes me back to my last question of how many of you guys say you want to go to the NHL? Keep your hands up. Okay, how many people shot 100 pucks yesterday? Keep them up. How many people stick handled for an hour yesterday? How many people did 100 push-ups before they went to bed yesterday? How many people drank a gallon of water yesterday? That's good, you got the hydration going. How many people did extra cardio yesterday when they got home or before camp yesterday? How many of you guys did some stretching before you went to sleep to make sure your body recovered? That's good. So what I want you guys to take from that, you notice a lot of hands are going up, a lot of hands are going down. If you want to be great, your hand is going to be up for all of those. Like, if you want to make it to the NHL, it's tough. There's a lot of competition out there, which means you have to go a lot harder if you actually want to get to that goal. So that's what I kind of wanted you guys to see there. Like, the crazy people who are obsessed with this sports are the ones who end up making it. Like, if you watch like the greats like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, even Connor McDavid. I asked Bain, the guest speaker from yesterday, how long did it take till McDavid was back in the gym after losing in Game 7? He said it within 2 days. So if he's able to brush off his injuries from an 82-game season and 4 rounds of Stanley Cup playoffs and then be back in the gym 2 days later, you guys should be able to put in the extra work after a day of RB camp. And as you guys can see, this is June 27th. Just for, if you can't see it in the back, I'll just read out what the message says. But wanted to give you a heads up. So-and-so is at a camp here in town run by Colin Bleak of the Indy Fuel. I got a text from so-and-so this morning asking me to come get him because another kid called him the N-word. They were in the locker room and this kid asked him if it was okay to call him the N-word. He said no, so the kid said, "You're a stupid nigger." So, I mean, from the 60s and 70s to now, this is the kind of experiences that we've been through and that we go through being a person of color in America. And this is just to kind of show you guys what's involved in the game of hockey that I know and love. And I'm not going to sit here and say this is everybody, because that's not the case. Like, I've come into plenty of people who know and love me and respect me for who I am as a person and not because of the color of my skin. So I'm just kind of shedding light on the things that we go through being a person of color and coming up in this.
My first experience was actually out in Burnaby, and just because of my darker skin color, kids called me all sorts of names, racial slurs, and me, I was a bigger kid at the time, and hitting has always been a part of my game. So once I was able to do that in Pee Wee, that's how I took it out, and I held this anger inside me, and it just built up, and it was something that was very difficult conversations with me and my family. My dad being white and my mom being mixed. Conversations that not all kids have to experience, and doesn't, like your parents are feeling that hurt too, because they want to protect you. And I've just seen too many kids step away from the game because of that hurt and because of that feeling of not belonging. And, those are things I felt a lot of the time. To stand up and have the courage to stand up to those people, even, it doesn't have to be physical. It takes a lot of courage to stand up to your teammates or someone else when you know it's wrong. And I think we all know the difference between right and wrong. And I hope sharing these experiences with you guys is eye-opening, because I just want hockey to be inclusive for everyone, no matter your size, your hair color, your skin color, your race, your religion. Like, this is a beautiful sport and has given me everything, my family, everything I could have ever dreamt of and more.